everybody, for episode number 2 of Up for Discussion. Totally just rolled in from the 2024 first day of the ATA show, and we are going to discuss our favorite picks, things we saw, things that intrigued us, things that were, as we would say, awesome, and stuff like that. So we're just going to get ready to dive in, make some small talk. I got up at 5.
Yeah.
I had a cup of coffee. No, we all met, got over there before open.
They let us in.
Got checked in.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know anybody that's never been to the ATA show. Some people may be like, I don't even know what the ATA show is.
Yeah.
So it's
Second
archery.
time for me.
Second time?
Second time.
Archery Trade Association.
Close enough.
Is that it? Apparently, I don't know what the ATA show is.
Did you think that the vendor attendance was a little low in comparison to other years?
I would say compared to last year, yeah.
Yeah, that'll take us down a rabbit hole. So before we go there, let's explain the ATA show.
Let's explain.
So it's someone that knows has to explain it.
So
It's all the new products for
Yeah.
going out for
archery,
24.
archery related and industry products. So it's
Right.
not all archery, but it sort of revolves primarily around archery and
archery,
peripheral businesses and
Right.
and
So all the
products.
companies, or not all, but many of the companies that are into the archery business, bow hunting, so you're talking arrows, broadheads, sights, bows, and everything.
deer stands, blinds,
Yeah.
every kind of
everything
crazy
that's
thing.
tied to it. Everything that's tied to it, and then some.
Yep.
Set up a booth, and it's only for, Wes may have to help me with this, but it's only for retail shops and distributors, probably. Is that the right word?
Yeah, close enough. You're doing good.
Yeah, come on.
No, you're doing good.
So it's just not like
Yeah, not everybody's
anybody
there.
gets
Right,
to go.
right.
I mean, you got to go, and Chris got to go, so almost
I'm not
anybody
really
should
sure
be able
where
to
you're
go.
Yeah.
I guess
But-
they might let anybody in, I guess.
So it's set up for all the shops and the stores to be able to maybe get in. They do deals,
Get a look at new products.
make orders
Yep.
for the first part of the year or the whole year. You get to see new products and stuff like that. So
Well, and meet some people that you kind of need to do business with.
yeah, you get to meet. You'll get to see people there, being a shop owner that you're not going to get to see the rest of the year, basically. So.
Yep.
And then you also get to see there's the occasional, who'd we see today? We've seen some of the Drury
Yep.
team.
Matt
And,
Terry.
Yeah.
I think we said we saw Jay Gregory. And
Gregory.
Yep. He was running through there. Nick Munt. There was several. Not a ton, but there was several guys there that people might recognize.
so that's neat. You get to see people that you watch on television or nowadays YouTube probably or something to that nature.
Yeah.
So you walk around all day, you look at the stuff, you talk to the vendors, you make your decision on what you like, what's cool, and then it's a 3-day event, so you can look at it in a day.
you can run through it fast, but to really,
But you can't break down things
No.
in a day.
you need a little more than that.
And especially if you're talking to your manufacturers and trying to
Yeah.
work out, deals and things like that and what you're going to carry in your store and stuff like that, you definitely need more than a day. So we will be back, some of us going back.
Yeah. Well, and if you're not focused and you start going down every little sort of bunny trail and you look down an aisle, hey, that's so-and-so down there, and head down there and you miss one spot. And like we were talking, we somehow missed Clifford Martin for most of the day and realized, well, we didn't go down that little aisle and caught him just before we left. But yeah, really you need, that's where your second day where you can settle down and focus a little bit and spend a little more time individually with some of the people you need to talk to or interested in possibly doing business with is kind of helpful.
So you will also get to as a shop person, so people just listening to us knowing, well, what'd you do all day? I mean, one thing you'll get to do is shoot bows. You'll get to shoot some of they have little, I guess, booths, you could say, set up off to the side where you could shoot, a 6 or 7 yard shot just to feel the draw, shoot a bow. So you had several different bow companies you got to, and crossbows.
Right.
We didn't shoot any crossbows today. I may sling some bolts out of some crossbows tomorrow.
It might be fun to do, and even some of the things, like those little mini
Need to
crossbows.
shoot those little ones,
There's
Those are
some
pretty
cool
cool.
things, that you just don't see every day. But
I mean, it goes all the way from, you're talking big vendors or big manufacturers to the degree of Bowtech and names that almost anybody would know, all the way down to, golly gee, somebody just starting their business.
Right.
Yep.
And some of the guys were so new, they were still in production of things and weren't quite ready yet, but they were there, trying to put their product forward. So some of the companies you've never heard of because they haven't been. And
so you hear the story a lot. They'll hand you something, a new product. I don't know if you guys notice this, but they'll hand you something, a new product.
that's the prototype.
And they'll say, June.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or we're shooting for, August before bow
Right.
season next year.
Right.
So that's neat. If you think about it from that angle, you're seeing some things that probably are not even, like some of that stuff you may be able to find it online
Right.
and look at it.
Yeah. But you may be holding the only one there is yet.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because
to
they're
some
just
degree.
still in the production process,
Yeah.
production process. They haven't mass produced any of it yet. So, which is
Right.
kind of neat.
So, I mean, we saw broadheads and things like that way that they're like, that is new. Some of them didn't even have coatings and stuff on them.
Yeah.
They're just cut out blanks and stuff
Right.
like that. So
Well, and the tethered guys, they had some products for their saddle platforms that the new carbon ones that they have one there,
Right.
but they're not in production just yet. They're not available to purchase just yet. But it's nice. You can look at those things, get a sneak peek, and
like that one he was telling us,
Yes.
he's like, I hunted with this one this year.
right,
Right.
He
right.
said, look at the dirt on it.
Yeah, it's not in production yet, but of course they've built several prototypes. They've hunted with
Right.
them, make sure they're working, they like them,
Yeah.
and things like that. So that's what the ATA show is. What'd you think, Chris?
It was fun.
The
Crowd.
frustrating part about it's you can't buy anything.
Yeah. So many.
Lathan, I think you had a lot of fun with that right there.
Yeah, there. Now, this was an interesting chapter in the day. Lathan, first time ever in a saddle. Looked a little uncomfortable at first. See him?
Oh, that's not my uncomfortable
Oh, he
face.
got, I was gonna say he was pretty
There,
comfortable.
see, I'm
around
getting
me.
comfortable right there.
How would you feel 20 foot up in a tree, though?
I'd feel good. Yeah. I mean, watching this, I would like to go maybe on a little harsher diet. But so how deep do you want us to start going with this? You want us to start rolling with it? Wes will probably pop in here in a second. He's being our technician maybe right at the moment. So yeah, that's the Tethered booth. Tethered being a company that does the tree saddles. And I'm going to go ahead. I said I'd eat crow. I'm going to go ahead and eat my crow because probably how many years has the saddle thing been really?
About 3 or so?
At
I
least.
say 2.
3 or
I was going
4.
to say like
Wow.
3 years, and then the last year and a half, or this
Ramped
last
up,
season,
yeah.
it seems like it's ramped up. And
Yeah.
and I looked at them last year. Never got in one.
Right.
Never got in one. But looked at them and thought to myself, I'm not.
Look at that smile.
The happy face.
He's like
Yeah.
sitting on a swing.
I thought I'm not seeing it, or maybe I'm not feeling it.
The benefits.
I
of-
had, the benefits. I had, like right here, I'm thinking, I don't know if they can see that, but I'm thinking to myself, at first I thought that shot would mess you up.
Right. Would be.
And I thought, if there's a shot that's going to be virtually impossible for me to make, I'm better off to be standing
On a stand.
on a stand.
Yeah.
So here I am, I get in it, and after the guy walks me through some of the stuff, I realize maybe you could shoot more.
Yeah. There's a little more.
So that's me
flexibility.
eating crow saying I've said for 2 years that
Yeah. Don't see the purpose.
I just don't see it. And I think I would love it. I'd love hanging on the side of a tree.
Yeah.
I've got tree monkey, tree spider in me already anyway.
Yeah.
And I thought I would love to hang off a tree, but I don't want to hang there just because everybody else is doing it.
Yeah, and there needs to be a reason.
Yeah, does it benefit me? Does it? And for anybody listening, it's not probably for everybody.
Oh, certainly.
What did you think? Doug got in it. Tell me what you thought.
I was more or less under the same thought process that you were about it, that I just didn't really see the benefit. But I'll tell you one thing. It didn't look comfortable, but it wasn't as uncomfortable as I thought it was sitting in that thing.
It's pretty, actually.
I mean, I was
You'd
impressed.
have to gauge it after 2.5, 3, 4 hours.
Yeah, now that's one thing we don't know. I wasn't there 3 hours in it. And again, this is the guys at Tethered. Now there are other products that may not be just like this, and maybe we wouldn't like them as much.
Several companies, and I'm going to probably scope some of them tomorrow as well.
Right, check them out a little bit more.
Because if we're thinking about bringing them into the shop, I'm going to try 2 or 3 of them and see which ones
I feel,
maybe more affordable or not so much, or more comfortable or easy to use.
Right.
But they're all based.
Seems like
out of the same.
I mean, coming from not a lot of knowledge of them, it seemed like as we passed by other booths that had saddle equipment, they seemed to be made similarly. But after getting in the thing, I was impressed. I mean, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was because I really wasn't expecting much out of it, and really I just kind of stopped through the booth just to really. I was more interested in some of the accessory parts that could be used in conjunction with a regular stand, like the lightweight sticks and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was there for that. And then as we started playing, and of course you jumped in like in your style, going ahead and jumped in the seat and did your thing.
Let's give this baby a ride.
Yeah. And so, and I wasn't any going to go anywhere near it. And finally he talked me into, hey, you should try that. And sure enough, it wasn't that bad, but I still am very interested in things like the lightweight sticks and the other accessory parts that they have, for that equipment. And
I'm not gonna.
yeah,
no,
Mark didn't look interested, but
No, I'll stick with the tree stand.
He kept getting further away from it.
yeah, he's backing out the door. But
Yeah,
which
I'll
I
pass.
don't blame you because I was reluctant to. I wouldn't have even stopped there. Like from my interest in what I would assume that would be, I wouldn't have even stopped. I would have kept walking.
Well, that was me last year.
Yeah. So
Because my thought was I would like it because I like stuff like that. I like hanging around or whatever out of a tree or I used to hunt standing on tree limbs,
Right.
But I had the qualm of I just felt like in my mind, I'm going through the motions, acting out, hanging from there, and I thought there's a shot or two I feel like I'm not going to be able to make.
Right.
And that wasn't the case. When he showed me how to do
you
it,
can
you can totally go to the back side of the tree.
Right. Yeah.
And
without a secondary platform, like you can get yourself around
there's
there.
there's a motion that you go through that puts you totally on the. I wish we didn't get none of that, did we, Wes? What was that? Like where we were.
I don't think so. I think
totally on the back.
he had quit.
Like he had showed me after he quit filming how you can swing around to the back. You use your knee and that platform, and it's not hard. And after you was up there using it,
it would be
12
second
times,
nature.
it'd be second nature. You'd swing around there. And I could actually see where, if you've ever had that deer that you're like, man,
yes,
that you might be able
that edge to maybe get a shot when you normally wouldn't possibly.
You might be able to. And now this is what Tethered told us, and I wish we could tell you about every other one of those, but Tethered told us if you wanted to spend the money, what'd he say? He could get you in a sweet setup.
Sub 10 pounds.
For under 10 pounds.
Everything it took to be in that tree.
That's getting 17 to 18 feet up.
Yep.
If you put an add-on to your thing, I think they say you can get 20 for sure. And with a platform and all that stuff for less than 10 pounds, you're walking into the woods with less than 10 pounds.
Yeah, fairly light. Well,
now a guy that's got stands hung everywhere, that he's like, I'm going in
with my own backpack and nothing else, right?
Less than that all the time. But for like me, that's immobile, and my stand goes and comes with me pretty much every
often.
time.
Whether it be a climber or the hang and hunt
I have
system.
not sat in a ladder or a
fixed position,
regular lock-on stand in probably 2 years.
Right.
I did like the sticks.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
the
they're really
sticks
cool.
were
And
cool.
using the sticks with a lightweight small stand would be
pretty sweet. I think
that'd
it
be
has
nice.
definitely some crossover benefits to other systems.
I think if hunters would get the mind, even if they didn't have the mindset to do it every time.
Right. It's just another
but they have it's like it's in my pickup.
Right. It's
I
a
need
tool.
to go to the other side of the woods tonight. You can do it.
Yeah,
Maybe
and maybe
only-
be set up fairly quickly.
Maybe only go 9 foot in the tree. You don't have
Yeah.
to go
Yeah. No,
20,
that's right.
25 feet.
Well, and
No,
that was
no.
another thing I was going to mention, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mark. By the way, Mark Phillips. We didn't actually make an
We
introduction.
should have.
That's
Mark,
okay.
I'm
That's
so
all right.
sorry, everybody. This is Mark Phillips
That's okay.
from
North
Carmine,
City.
North City,
Yeah,
You're close.
and then
he's more or less a
Doug's,
professional.
Doug's son, Chris Doty,
I don't know about that.
from North City. We
But
haven't
Leroy.
heard much.
Leroy.
Yeah, everybody calls me Leroy.
Nickname, right? It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
even.
Yeah, it's not a real name, but we like it.
Yeah,
so
that's what
he may
everybody
not,
calls
but we
me.
like it. So, but
At
I
this
want
point.
what I was.
How does
what I was-
that fully happen, though? Let's not take too far of a trail down how Chris.
So-
what's your middle name?
Paul.
How Chris Paul Doty
Okay.
turns into Leroy.
Yeah.
Nathan? Now you know.
Does it have anything to do with the beard, or was it way before the
No.
beard?
Way before
goodness.
this. Oh,
Go
okay.
way on back.
I don't
So
even know if I
listen.
could walk at
So
that
I'll,
point.
I'll
Can
throw
you
this
tell
out there.
this story? Because this is a family channel.
I can tell it.
Okay.
I can tell it. yeah, I can do it. So you know that when it comes to dealing with me, there are lots of quirks and nicknames and things
I have-
that happen. Okay, so
I've
you get
picked
that.
up. I've picked
Okay,
up on that.
so,
Yeah.
you're pretty smart. So I'm pretty sure you did. But so years ago, where it actually came from is Lethal Weapon 2. When
I said this is a family channel. and you-
listen,
okay.
listen.
That's
when-
rated R.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're not going to get into all that.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
So-
shut up now and let you tell the story.
When Joe Pesci came on as Leo Getz, they kept messing up his name and calling him Leroy, and he kept correcting them and saying, "It's Leo, and it's not Leroy." And somehow Leroy is what I kept calling people when I was goofing around, like, I'd be like, "Oh, "Come on, Leroy," whatever. And well, he was still not even born yet when that all came out. But like later on, it just was like Leroy, and I don't know why, and it just stuck from like way back. I don't even know when.
Now all his friends call me Leroy.
Yeah, so
Every
Leroy's
single
kind of
one of
it. So
I'm glad you clarified that because I didn't know.
yeah, so that's what I mean.
I didn't know for a long time.
No.
Yeah.
I'd hear him call him Leroy, and I'd think to myself, must be his middle name.
Yep, nope, not even close.
Nope.
That's okay. Well, what I was going to mention before moving on when we did the introductions was, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you're not really thrilled, Mark, with heights. Like you're not great.
So-
it's not your favorite thing.
So we got to get back to
Heights don't bother me.
Chris, Leroy, Doty, Mark Phillips, Doug.
Yep.
Okay, now we've got that. all
Heights
right.
don't bother me in a tree as long
Right.
as there's
Right.
stuff around me. Now,
Right.
yeah, going up a side of a building or
Right.
whatever, yeah,
So
I don't like it.
I guess my thought was like the thing with the saddle, and this is where maybe it isn't for everybody. Would you say that being heights not being your best friend, you might not feel really comfortable with that whole hanging
I
off
think
the
it's
tree
the
on a rope?
trust factor of
Yeah.
of just hanging by a rope.
Yeah, because I mean I could see that where we climb every day, construction things and whatever we're doing, and not really
Yeah.
even giving a lot of thought sometimes.
Even like it.
Yes,
Yeah.
to
I
a
like-
fault even.
I like to
sometimes.
be way
Yeah.
up high at
Yeah,
work.
I
and
enjoy
stuff.
heights.
Yeah, see,
But-
I think it's a mind thing.
Yeah,
know.
and so it maybe that could be a thing, and that's a legitimate thing if you're not comfortable, being off the ground doing things like that. That may not be for you, but for people that don't mind that, could
'Cause
be.
you have to rock back on it.
Yeah,
You
Yeah,
can see there on the TV. I mean, you
Yeah.
got to rock back on
yeah.
it. So,
You've got to rely 100% on that system.
so you're doing it right there, and you're what, a foot, maybe off the ground. So
Well, and like when you were going around the backside of the tree, like most people wouldn't be comfortable with that if you were even kind of nervous about heights.
I think I'd be reaching for something to
Yeah,
grab onto.
Well, I mean, if you just go back, I remember years ago, and I know you're doing a lot better with heights than probably early on, but I remember trimming stands and stuff years ago. You like to stay sitting down even when you shot your
Oh,
bow.
yeah.
You
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
like to stand up.
I just
'cause-
shoot better sitting
Yeah,
down too.
and so there's
but
just
yeah.
something there. Well, that's a whole different world now. You know,
Yeah.
you get in a saddle now, you're off the side of the tree hanging by a rope.
But I could say this, I could see where if everybody hunted out a saddle and got used to it, I can see where there would be less accidents.
Well, you're tied in the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you falling wouldn't be a problem.
Because still people have. I mean, I know of one person off the top of my head, but people have fell out of their tree with their safety harness on. And yes, it saved them. So I'm totally
Right.
condoning wearing your
Right.
safety harness.
but they got banged up.
But yeah, they beat them on the side of the tree,
Right.
or they blacked their eyes, or
Yep.
broke their nose, or
Right,
something
right.
to that nature.
If you step off that platform or something weird happens, you're not going anywhere.
You're not moving very
And you're
far.
already at the end of the rope, so to speak. So like all you're going to do is swing toward the tree and
Yeah,
stop.
I mean, it could make you sing soprano if your feet slip.
Oh yeah,
slipped,
and I mean it scare you good. You know, it might give you that feeling that you don't like, but
It's crazy though. Years ago, I would never wear a harness.
right.
None of us did.
I'd be
Right.
25 feet in a tree, and
Yep.
I
Yep.
never thought about it.
But now once you get wearing it,
When you get older, you
yes,
start thinking about that
that's
stuff.
right. That's right. You know, you get older and wiser, and you realize you don't heal as fast as you used to
Yeah,
either.
that's right.
You know, you take a fall, it kind of hurts. You know,
quit.
we're not all built like Nathan, where we
I
can just
know.
bounce off a concrete floor.
Yeah,
That's
You know,
right.
I mean, it's
Don't
a
you
whole different
forget
thing.
it. So that's the actual tethered brand.
Yep. The people were really great, by the way,
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Very
Very
helpful
friendly.
in explaining. Would you agree?
Right, I would.
Explaining the
Like
product.
at one point, I told this guy, I was like, I'm almost uncomfortable. You're helping me so much here.
Like I'm helpless. What's going on?
he wanted you
Like
to
he
buy
was
it.
putting when he was putting it on for me. And I was like, oh, okay. You know.
He kept readjusting it every time you'd start to move around.
I was like, take it easy.
Do you think you'll have one by the end of the weekend?
I don't know about that. I mean, season's over,
Yeah.
so I'm not in no rush.
Got to practice.
Well, but it's something to think about
But
for the future.
I would say that
And for a product in the store, because now we're kind of, it's another avenue.
yeah.
You
And
know?
I've said for 2 years, I just didn't see it. I seen it being fun. Thought it was maybe a gimmick.
Right. Kind of too
I
gimmicky.
thought maybe
yeah.
it was gimmicky.
Well, doing something just for the sake of doing it, if it's not giving you an advantage, it doesn't make sense. And that's kind of how I looked at that. Maybe I was wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I was wrong. I'm going to tell everybody that all the saddle hunters, you were right. Well, I did take note that when people would talk to me about it, they would not. I never heard someone be like, "Man, I hate that."
Yeah.
They were always like, "Man, I really like it. I like it." And it's maybe not for every hunt, or maybe not, but most of them are like, "It's changed the way I roll."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just putting that out there for your information.
So that's the saddle thing.
That's the saddle thing.
Maybe we should move on. What else did you, as you walked around, anything caught your eye that kind of took you off the aisle for a minute to have a look?
Well, Chris has been quiet, and I don't even know if you're going to be in that seat the whole time. What jumped? What jumped at Chris or Leroy? I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, it's all good. Honestly, those little crossbows are really cool because we just kind of were walking by like they were toys.
Right.
And then she kind of got our attention for a minute, and we started talking to her, and they're that long. And
Like a pistol,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And they're like a little pistol, and she's like, oh yeah, people deer hunt with them and everything.
Making enough power. Now,
Yeah.
disclosure, I guess a person would want to double check if you end up with one.
The rules.
The rules,
Right.
yeah,
and
yeah.
And
legality.
she even mentioned that, by the way, that there are some regulations in some states or certain situations about the axle length, width, and the bolt length, that there could be some regulations to look into, which,
Right,
and I don't
different-
know,
Yeah, different states,
I'm not knowledgeable
different
enough
rules,
about
different
crossbow
strokes
things.
for different folks.
And they were very inexpensive.
Yeah, they weren't
They're-
expensive
they're
at all.
like
It was
$300-400.
Didn't they have
$300,
like a hand cocker
Yes.
on them?
Yeah, it was like a little.
Yeah,
don't know how to describe
this
it.
girl at the booth was
Yeah.
showing us the whole thing, and she was just
She was just
cranking that
them
thing back, and it has a pulley system in it that gives you a mechanical advantage when you're pulling it back, so you're not pulling the entire.
You could actually
100
decock it
pounds
too
or
without
whatever.
having to
Yeah,
Fire the
fire
bolt.
the bolt.
It's
Yeah.
really neat. It was just really
pretty
neat.
cool.
It would be neat. It'd
Yeah.
definitely be neat to just shoot them and mess with them.
Yeah, yeah.
I wish
yeah.
they had a booth set up so you could.
Yeah, I don't think they were set up to shoot them.
No,
which would have been neat.
What do you think the width of them was? When
Boy, they were
like
narrow
10
when they were
inches?
cocked.
I was gonna say 10,
10
yeah,
inches?
At
I'd say.
most,
maybe.
and that would be total width, not just axle
Right.
width. That was the total cam and all. Like
They had a
weren't
ton
much.
of accessories too that you could put on them
Yeah.
and make them.
Bow fishing.
Bow fishing accessories, and then
It
they
made
had,
you want to own one.
It did.
Like it did.
really
When she was
did.
playing with all the
My
accessories.
thing is though, when I walk around there, I was like, man, I'd like that. I'd like to have one. Then
Yeah.
you turn over here. I would like to have one of
Yeah.
those too.
Yeah.
you know.
There's a lot
As
of
a
that
hunter,
there. The kid
that's
in
one
you.
thing about the ATA show. I've been before we owned the shop, and it was more like a what would you call it? Like a fun adventure,
Yeah.
of seeing things
Yeah.
and stuff
Exploring
like
the
that. And now
place,
I'm trying not to not do that, but to not just get focused on googly-eyed, because you got to think about the shop and what do you want to bring into it and stuff like
Right,
that.
right.
So let's address this one. And you guys are way more trail camera savvy than me. Explain. Did you stop and look at this one?
I did not see this one.
Very briefly.
Yeah, just for
I
a moment.
don't know what I would. This is one of the things tomorrow I want to look into just a little bit more to see what.
So this was stealth cam.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stealth cam.
I'll just say this. Some years ago, I kind of got in my head that the stealth cams were kind of a lower budget. I didn't want to bother with kind of cam. I just want to say now, some of these
come a
stealths
long
we're
way.
using, they're fine. They take good pictures, good video. Their plans are good. Their app is you can navigate easily, which is good for me because I'm not good with that kind of stuff anyway, as a rule. And so that just being said, don't think that because it's a stealth and you may have some image of the earlier ones that were kind of a little cheapy, possibly. These are better, and this revolving camera here is just a whole new thing.
Yeah. So just out of the gate, we can give you what we see on it, because this is in what they call this area, the feature products, which is like new, like never been seen before type. Sort of
Innovative stuff. Yeah.
So does
And,
it rotate 360?
thing. Yes. So what I was saying, when that rolls back around, just some things we could gather off the box is we see that it's 80-foot range. It's this one, the Pro, is 40 megapixels.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. I don't know about megapixels.
Boy, that's pretty dang good.
Wes is giving me the nod like that's good, and he should know that sort of thing. 40 megapixels. The regular revolver was a little less, 35.
but just still very good.
How many batteries? I bet it's.
Yeah,
I
that
bet it's more. I bet it's more than 12.
I didn't dig
run
in.
it.
I didn't dig in that far, but anyway. So explain that from the innovative part of that. I guess when you guys pick that up. And
Mark is a trail camera
Junkie.
junkie. I'm trying to look for the word, but that's probably it. But wouldn't you say that?
there it is, 36 megapixels.
Yeah, which is awesome, by the way. That's very good.
0.4 seconds. What's that mean?
That's
trigger time.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So when
So less than half a second.
less
when
than
that
half a
deer
second.
walks in front of it,
Yeah.
0.4 seconds. It
Yeah,
will.
which is
quick,
decent. Like that's not bad. Some are less, but there are some that are more. Hey,
Oh, yeah.
Leroy, wait.
That's not Leroy. That's Wes.
Leroy?
And just to the guy that's listening, Lathan owns a shop, but he does not run cameras. So
None.
when people hear him talking like, well, what's that mean? Well, that's the reason why. Even though he sells them,
Yeah.
he does not he does not run them. So
Not against them at all. And I have, I say I have, but
I've ran 'em.
it's been yours, and you was like, I was like, and I say I ran them, so a couple times I've been like, hey, I'll take one and put it in a place that's closer, and I hung it. But we both hunted the area, so
How many cameras you think we run total together?
Oh man. Well, I can tell you. I mean, I've probably got just in the group of many different brands and varieties, and probably 40 that I'm running at any given time between the group of us that are using the same parcels and set up on.
Yeah.
And so you've got a pile of them. I mean,
I've got probably 50 out, but
Yep.
no
I
kidding.
probably have.
See,
I hate to
Doug's,
say this.
Doug's running 40, but Doug's running an outfitting.
I have. It's more of a
you
hobby.
have an issue, man.
I do. But,
he's
but
got
I have.
more
The thing
of a
is,
problem,
thing is, I have probably 40 more at home that aren't even being used.
Right.
No kidding.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's a sickness.
It is.
No wonder Caleb calls you daddy. He's hoping to get some trail
I
cameras.
hope he doesn't hear that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's
my.
not just because you're
Did
substantially
you hear that,
older.
Moss? Your ears burning.
Who's your daddy?
So this particular camera, this revolver, the one thing that we've never seen in cameras, to my knowledge, is something that will take pictures 360 degrees.
Moultrie
Yeah.
did that a while back, didn't they?
They did something similar, but I don't think it was 360.
It
I
wasn't
think
a cell camera either. It was just a regular.
Right.
Yeah, and this is one camera that can revolve.
Right.
I don't know if Moultrie's was like that or not.
Yeah, I think
this
theirs
literally
was a little different. I think it was just a much wider angle. I don't think it was a complete 360. Was it?
No, but I know it did.
Like a panoramic.
Yeah,
yeah,
that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Which
so
sometimes makes the picture.
I think
wild
what
looking,
theirs
doesn't it?
did though is it selected the zone, and that's the picture you got. Like
Oh,
where it triggered, it would select that
Yeah.
zone, and that's your picture. And then the next picture might be over here. But this actually has, and we need to
now,
investigate.
one
this a
thing
little
about
more.
this though, it's going to have to be mounted on something.
post.
Yeah, that's
Like-
a post.
It would make more sense.
Yeah, because you have a
Man, that
put it out in the
tree
middle of
rocks.
your.
Well,
Trees
and
still in the shot.
those covert field pods and stuff.
Yeah,
would
they
be
would work
perfect
perfect
for that.
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would just cut the tree off and set it on the top of the tree.
I mean,
No,
why not?
I would not do that. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But we need to look into that a
I
little
think
bit
there's
more.
entire associations that are dedicated to people
To
that
not
have
doing
that
that.
issue.
Yeah.
What was the price point on that?
That's
Don't
something.
know. Did you guys?
I'm not sure the price.
We never
point.
made it into their actual booth.
Yeah.
We wanted to hit this place.
We just thought, man, that's a unique idea. So-
Well, it's
And
how
it
many
is.
times. How many times? That's one of my. I could say a qualm with the camera is guys will make a choice not to hunt a place.
Because they don't
It's
have
like I haven't got that picture there. I haven't got that picture. But I was like, I drove past your
right.
hunting spot and looked across the cornfield, and your big deer was standing right underneath your stand. It's like, my camera didn't get it.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
they're, you know,
yeah.
so this, and it could be just because he walked
right.
behind it.
Behind it.
Yeah.
Right. Which then this solves that.
I mean, he could have walked up to the zone, turned
Right.
left, went behind it,
Yep.
and we had Jeremy.
That's
with
what I
us.
do when I hunt mark spots.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, we do. We just,
well, once he gets these revolvers, you're not going to do that anymore.
No.
so I'm thinking about. No, I'm not going to go there. Never mind.
We need to be careful.
Take that back.
Reel it back.
Reel
in.
it back in.
Well, don't you think? Well, just to be clear, we skimmed pretty quickly today because
Well,
we were
yeah,
on a
we did.
limited
You have
time
to. Yeah. You have
schedule to
to.
get back here. It was a 2-hour drive to get back here.
Yeah,
You know,
and this would have been one of the things that stood out.
Yeah.
yes,
Because if you've got a camera, if it truly works good, we can't speak to that right now.
Right.
'cause
No.
We've not.
Right.
Nobody here's ran one because
Yeah,
it's not
and
even
it's
out
brand
there.
new. I don't even think anybody has them.
We could possibly have went to the stealth cam booth,
Right.
and they could have pumped it up to us and told
Right.
us everything. But if it would work as to what it's showing,
Yes.
that deer supposedly, if you've got it set up right, can't walk behind it.
Right, and get out of the way of it. Right.
Right. It's gonna. I'm assuming it looks like it articulates in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are things to
Turns.
learn about, you know, and we discussed
snoop-
this on the way back.
Shoots the shot.
Is it real quiet? Does it make noise when it turns?
Yeah.
the questions we'd have that we could ask someone at that booth. We
When it
just need
gets
to.
really-
That's a good tomorrow thing.
Or when
Look
it gets
into
really
it.
Yeah,
cold.
that's where
you
you
know,
have
is it
to-
going to
Right,
freeze?
exactly. If it rains and then freezes, will it stop turning, or is it all interior where it doesn't matter?
Well, it
And
looks like it's
spoken
fully
like a true-
enclosed.
Yeah.
So
Spoken like a true guy that's got
40.
50 cameras. He wants to know what's the battery situation in it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. How many batteries?
The cost of batteries now?
yeah, it's
Did
significant.
you see
You
that?
know?
It's
Did
like
you
I
Can't
see that? Did I,
imagine what you're paying for batteries and plans and.
It's just a mortgage.
Well,
payment.
If your wife is listening, you're in trouble, dude.
Well, it'll be all right. You just gotta.
well,
If the, if the
did you
batteries,
get her a camera for her birthday?
no.
every time.
But if there's any percentage left of battery, I save them and I'll put them in when summer rolls
Put
around.
them in your remote controls.
Well, I'll put them back in a camera
Why
in
is
the
this thing
summer
quit working
just because
so often?
just because they're so expensive.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Well, and you know that wasn't a factor some years ago, but even the alkaline batteries now, they are real expensive.
Did I not send you guys that T-shirt? I send you T-shirts every once in a while that I find. Did I
There's no
send it?
telling.
Boy, there's no telling.
It's a picture of a trail camera on a tree, like a drawing picture, and underneath the tree is like, I don't know, looks like a 10-pound pile of AA batteries, and it says, "Killing nothing but batteries all season."
yeah.
Well, that's for sure gonna
I tell you,
happen.
solar panels are.
Yeah.
I've got a solar panel out on a Reconyx and haven't had to change the batteries yet.
Yeah. And you know,
Been
here's
out
the
5
thing.
months probably.
You know, the solar panels are expensive, but with batteries, what they are, that will, as long as it stays working long enough, you know, get a good season or two out of it, you are saving money
Oh, yeah.
on what you'd spend on batteries at this point.
That right there is an entire episode in and of itself. We can have an entire episode just on trail cameras and
Yes.
what ones are
Yep.
effective.
And
useful.
there's things too, like the battery, how many batteries it takes, what kind of batteries in the battery life. Those are all real important. But how you set the camera up to not get a lot of false triggers and things like that are also really important because you're using data and battery life when you're doing that.
And a lot of your cell service affects
Yes, it does.
how much batteries.
Yep.
How much they drain.
If it has to search all the time, it's going to use batteries.
So tell me, all three of you, because I can play the person that I don't know. If that works, is that a big deal? I mean, you're like,
it's a cool thing.
Yeah.
I
it
think
would be great for
or if
food
you got so
plots,
many
like you said.
cameras, he's like, I've
No.
already got a 360 because I just put them all the way around the
Just
tree.
line them up.
I probably do run too many, but
Yeah.
But
Well,
you know
what's
what you
too many?
got.
What's too many?
you got to have one for every tree.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
That's right. Well, you know what we would do at times, and I realize this is kind of seems wasteful, is if I was thinking that stuff was happening on both sides, I'd put a camera on
one
each
facing
side of
both ways.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So this eliminates the need for that supposedly
Yeah.
by working that way. So like food plots.
So
think
if
of
it's
that.
less
I
than
mean,
2 cameras, you did all right.
Yeah.
that's right. And they're
yeah,
the
there you go.
stealth.
That'd be
Yeah.
If it costs as much as 4 or 5 cameras, then you're like, well, yeah, just buy another one, put it on the other side of the
Yeah.
tree.
As a rule,
Yeah.
though, the stealths are usually reasonably affordable. So I
Yeah,
know I
I
don't
would
know.
say it's not bad.
It's probably not terrible, but that's something we can look into. We may need to do another day on some of the product stuff, just because we're going to learn a lot more tomorrow about so many different things we didn't even look at today, things that we could follow up on like this and get a little more information on.
And right towards the end, I mean, we were buzzing through trying to get back here for this.
Well, we knew
and
we
I
needed to
thought,
get out of there.
man, I didn't see that. And I didn't see
Well,
that.
that's
Yeah.
on the way out. I saw several things that I was like, well, there that is. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Literally on the way to the
Well, you
door.
asked about HHA,
Yeah.
and me and Lathan had walked by it earlier.
Yeah.
And then you asked about Clifford's booth, and
Yep.
we had been there.
Yeah, I
you
never
know.
saw him.
Yeah, and then I had walked away from you and walked around the corner, and there's Clifford. I said, "Oh, there he is." And then you were over there by the door and whatever. And of course, then shortly thereafter, we had to get going.
Yeah.
And as it was, but here's the thing: had Wes been actually driving, we
Oh.
could have made it back in about 40 minutes.
That is
Yeah,
true.
we
know,
made it pretty quick
Yeah.
this morning.
Yeah,
But for all the
That's-
ISPs out there,
yeah.
Doug
got a
He
lead foot.
Kind of had me in the front seat for a
Yeah,
reason.
I wanted Mark to have the full experience. So this morning we left my house early. I put him in the front seat so he could get,
I almost said something. I almost said, that's the faith seat.
that's
Well,
right.
Whoever has the greatest faith must sit in that seat.
Well, I had no idea, but Doug and Leroy, I guess, were thinking we're going to put him in the front seat.
It was perfect. I'm looking at him, just staring at the road, not saying anything, real quiet. And I was like, I know what he's thinking, because I mean, when you ride with Wes, there's some thoughts. Like you're thinking about faith, and
Kind
your
of thinking
family.
about
Family.
about hoping I can make it to the ATA show
exactly.
all of a sudden.
Exactly. But I will say this though, Wes has never failed to get us where we're going.
Oh, we were there.
I mean, we did, and quick. Right.
What's that episode? We're making great time, Jerry, or whatever. I can't slow down now. We're making too great a time.
But
Let's move on to the next item here, guys.
So I want you to finish because we're getting sidetracked.
Yeah.
You're telling me if that works good.
That is definitely a benefit.
So let's give it a
mean-
rating, 1 to 5, based on cool factor.
Knowing nothing else, I'm going to see.
Finally,
That's what I'm
I mean-
saying. Based on just
I mean,
visually.
Nathan, we don't have to be like that, do we?
Okay, I'll shut.
assuming it's effective and
Right.
does what it says it will do.
I mean, it's at least a 4 out of 5 in terms of being a benefit or unique or something,
Not
it's
knowing
a-
anything else about
Yeah.
it.
If
you
it
know.
doesn't spook deer,
right.
it works efficiently.
And if it truly does,
I mean, you could
catch
put it
that
in the center of a food plot.
and get everything theoretically.
yeah,
you know,
that's what I give
Awesome
Doug too.
idea.
If he doesn't spook deer, 4 out of 5.
So does that thing spin
my.
like 4.4 seconds? Like
It
It
must.
must, yeah.
I mean, that's what
that's
they're
qu- that's
advertising.
quick.
that's
That's
impressive if it does.
I mean,
that.
we're going out on a limb now with that, but it would appear by what they're saying. Yeah.
I mean,
we
I'm
need to
afraid
move
there's
on to the next item.
I'm
fellas.
afraid there's going to be sounds.
So we're giving that one a
That's-
4 out of
yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, and maybe it's a 5 out of 5, and we just don't know.
So the next series of clips, if you guys, Jared, if you wouldn't mind putting those up.
Jared is our faithful controller back there.
All right, here's another.
That's another saddle. Yeah.
Yep, and this is from Trophy Line. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think so.
They had a decent selection of products. I didn't spend much time there. We were breezing by it pretty quick. Did you guys spend very much time?
No, we did not.
Just
That
here
was
in the
just
featured
Gotcha.
spot.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you didn't even make it to their actual
And
booth.
we were pretty keyed up on anything saddle just because we've been intrigued by it. So
Yeah, we're late to the game, but we may come to the game to catch the fourth quarter.
that's right.
So did you find that the general setup was similar to the others that you'd seen?
Sure. I mean,
You know, this one had really nice buckles on it.
I think the buckles were nicer
think so?
Than the
Yeah.
tethered.
than the.
And
Yeah.
the material that it was made out of was pretty. I think it was better because it was stretchy.
It seemed like you would.
Now, whether it would last as long, I don't know
Yeah.
because the other was like a mesh material. but-
Right.
Seemed pretty tough.
Maybe a little more durable.
Yeah.
But you can't even say that about that either because we don't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just by touch and feel,
Yeah.
maybe.
And then their sticks, to me, they were 18 ounces.
Right.
So, man, you can't hardly go wrong with that.
And more or less a one-piece unit,
That-
not counting the V-bars.
Not counting the V bars. Yeah. So,
Because several of the others were a post and then the steps attached to them in some manner or other, but this was...
yeah.
Yeah,
And to
several
me,
of
if
them.
you're going to have a weak area, it's going to be in that post.
Where they make
Yep.
connections
Yeah, I
and
would
stuff like
say.
that. Where that one just almost didn't have any.
Did it seem really rigid?
It did. I picked it up and tried to twist around on it and just feel it. You know, it felt
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Felt good.
Some of the others we looked at, I'm sure were made well, but they give
like
you the
this-
impression that they could be...
We've got one guy that's commented that says, Mark Phillips, you're a natural.
Who said that?
Yeah.
I was sitting here listening, thinking maybe
Jared
you missed it.
Roper.
You should have been on
Oh
the radio.
boy. Yeah. Well, thanks, Jared. I appreciate it, bud.
See,
Radio
you got a fan
voice.
club. You didn't even
Yeah,
know it.
I guess.
Yeah.
I was called a genius today.
Someone called him a genius.
Hey,
Out loud in public. Yep.
we won't hold that against him.
I didn't know what to say.
I mean, they didn't know him, but
He's like, what's that word mean?
Yeah, right.
You'll have to explain.
So the shooting stick, the climbing stick, I would like to look into that one deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pointing at the hookup system. The am steel rope or whatever they use is not there in that
Right.
particular spot.
That
So I can't. It
almost-
looks like it was like the figure 8 girth hitch or whatever they call
Yeah.
that.
Or
Which would
was
be,
it intended to be like a hook,
I don't know.
like a pull
It's
strap with a
possible
hook?
because it's got two holes too.
Right,
So
that's what I was
that was the wild card.
Could
on
be
it.
either or.
Right. Could be, I suppose.
Could be whatever
But
you
but as
want.
far as the step itself, seemed like a
pretty
really
solid.
nice step.
And light.
It's
And
deceiving
really
when you
light.
pick it up. It's one of those things you pick it up and you're like, oh, it's lighter than it looks.
Well, that's what Jeremy was mentioning what it was made out of, which was some unique metal that I've not really
forget.
heard of before.
Someone
Yeah,
new
I think-
alloy.
Yeah.
Came from a meteor somewhere.
Yeah, I think it was from the moon. Is that what it said?
It's
I'm
that
not
same
sure.
stuff that they coated Wolverine's bones with or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. What was
In
that?
X-Men.
What? Yeah. It was a fancy name.
Yeah.
They had to heat it up.
Leroy's a genius
Yeah.
now.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's back there now thinking, why did I get away from the mic?
He is good on movies. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
Jeremy
he's
says
got
it was magnetite.
magnetite.
Magnetite. It was from from the
Yes.
moon or something
I mean,
like that.
surely, right? Magnetite? That sounds very cool.
It
Thanks a
sounded
lot,
cooler.
Jeremy. We
Yeah.
appreciate the help.
It sounds cooler now. It didn't sound as cool the first time I heard it.
I know, magnetite.
Something about the speaker and the microphone made it sound cooler.
I mean, does it levitate
Magnetite.
above the table and stuff? Because it sounds like something that would almost be like
An orb.
What's
yeah,
your shooting sticks made out of? Magnetite.
Stronger,
Magnetite.
quieter, more compact.
There you go.
right? Stronger than aluminum.
Hey, it stood out to us, so
It's pretty cool.
we
Yeah.
picked it out. So
We
let's
can-
move on to the next thing. We're at 6:46. We want to try and keep this relatively within time. So.
Well, if Mark's fan club would leave us alone for a minute or two, we could get some business done.
Where do you see the comments? I'm not even seeing them.
Well, only geniuses can.
That's right. I can't figure that out.
We're gonna have to rescind that genius.
So
That's all right.
This is the Radix booth.
it is.
Yeah,
Yep.
those are the ones.
So-
Where, hey, Mark,
So
you
that's
weren't
the new
with
one?
us.
No, I didn't
Oh,
see it.
man. Yeah,
That's-
you missed that. That's sweet.
So that's
Radix's
just-
new blinds are
They're
pretty
pretty
slick.
nice.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they've, in my opinion, have really stepped up
Yeah, I think the
mean-
price point was somewhere around $350, I believe.
on the ground blind.
Yeah, but it was a nice blind.
Those pull down windows, the dead
That's
silent.
pretty
Yeah.
cool.
It's pretty neat.
I was going to stick my head in there and look at the mechanism.
Oh, I checked it out. It's just a, it's like a, it's just like a groove that the thing slides on, not like a zipper.
Right, so
it's just a smooth surface, so there's no noise.
Neat.
It's pretty neat, and of course
This here is their Monarch X. It is a 6-sided blind. It really stood out because, for one, it's a panel blind, so you can take it down. It's easy to take out into the field. You can set it up on its own pod, or you can set it on the ground. What was cool about it is each one of these panels, they can, if you're an archery hunter, you can get vertical panels.
right.
Or if you're a guy that is a shotgun hunter, you can get it designed for a shotgun. See, there's a shotgun window. So
Yep, right.
But like you could get it with all
all shotgun or all archery.
or the mix. Like you're
Right.
seeing it here set
That's like a
up.
crossover blind.
Yeah,
Could
you're
be
seeing
used
it
for either
working
one.
for
Yeah.
either one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Got a
and they've
pretty
got it in that camo pattern, which might be too extreme for some. But they've also got it in almost like an OD green. So,
just a solid.
yep.
In my experience with any permanent blind, it really doesn't matter what color it is. Once it's been there long enough, they get used to it.
Right.
I wouldn't hesitate to use it like that, or if it was a solid color. But that is a well-made blind. I don't know if you noticed the windows sealed up really tight too. They had a good
Yeah.
gasket
Oh,
on them.
man. And it was
tempered.
window.
Yeah, they're
like,
tempered glass.
Yeah, they're not plastic.
Yeah, so
you know,
he's
plexi.
like, if you plexiglass, if you start
They fog
cleaning
up.
them,
Yeah, yeah.
they
Scratch.
they
yeah.
start losing their luster and get
Yeah.
hazy looking. But
Yeah.
anyway,
He's
so
really-
it was insulated. It's
Insulated.
panels. There's no wood in that thing.
I
There's
don't
not.
think so.
No,
Yeah.
Not even
the floor.
Yeah.
A
Like,
lot of
literally, it
those
should
you have
last
to
longer.
check.
That's
you have
right.
to check, and he told me that at his booth. He said you have to check. A lot of the panel blinds have wood
Sometimes particle board, which
underneath.
really
There's like they put soft foam in there, to walk
yes,
on
and you don't know what
to
you're
keep
stepping
it
on.
quiet, which is awesome. You want that in there as well. But underneath there, a lot of them have wood, which we all know.
Yeah,
yeah,
Can
it's not going to hold
deteriorate,
up.
Yeah,
yeah. And it can be noisy. And,
Right. I mean,
whatever.
he's confident. He told us he's confident if you go with that blind, you'll have it the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe
Providing a
that's probably
tornado
true,
or
yeah.
something don't hit it.
Now,
And it's got a foam floor, too. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Foam,
so,
yeah.
Yeah. So,
So-
it doesn't sound like a drum.
on his ground blinds here, that camo pattern is it?
His wife designed it.
So
It's
so
totally.
it's their pattern.
Yeah.
It looks like
Okay.
the old Sitka pattern,
It kind of does.
like their first.
Yeah, it kind
the
of does.
forest green.
And I was just curious as to if it was, something that was, unique to
Yeah.
their stuff, which evidently it is.
Yep.
Another thing, people miss this, but as builders, like a builder, you would notice this. That roof piece has an air gap in it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those little plastic roof over those blinds like that don't have that. Now, some people's like, well, what difference? Well, for one, that dead air is insulation.
Yeah.
Right,
So that would help because
Right.
the sides are insulated.
right.
And your heat goes out. So
Right.
if say you're in crazy cold like it's going to be this weekend and
Right.
you want to put a little warmer in there with you, it holds your heat in. And I'm going to say it would keep it from dripping.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
If you have a
Just like a
single
vapor
membrane
barrier,
roof,
yeah.
Yeah, because there
And
were
there's-
several there that we saw that we were like,
They're
that
no drip.
would absolutely.
We saw several. We looked at one that was a single material, very thin.
well, most of
composite.
them was. Most of
and
them. I'm not
they
saying
will
all
drip.
of them was,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
but most of them was. And that would, like if there's frost on that in the morning,
Yeah.
and
As
you
soon
get
as
in
the sun
there
hits it, and,
and-
you're even just your heat in there.
yeah, it would probably start, which is not a deal breaker.
But
you don't
it's
want to get in a
something-
blind and it still be
Sitting-
raining
right,
on you.
dripping on
Yeah,
you and
right.
stuff, dripping down the back of your neck, ice cold.
Yeah, I also noticed that Clifford had stands now.
Yes, and I looked at his stands. They were within the realm on as far as cost.
Yeah, I didn't look at the
And-
cost, but they looked like they were made.
Do
well.
they have
Yeah.
the good
They look-
seats on them?
Yes,
Not the.
They did have a
cushions,
mesh seat. Yeah.
like similar to a cross between a Muddy and a
Millennium.
Millennium.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah,
somewhere in
yeah,
there.
Yep.
They looked as if I didn't climb in one,
Yeah.
but they looked as if they'd be very comfortable. He had the hang-on type, and then he had a couple of different ladders.
And
They
then
look- they look
also,
good.
he has his soft-sided blinds as well.
The elevated
So is that the new covers that he
That
was
is the
talking
new
about
covers.
that won't
Yeah,
fade?
yep.
Yeah.
So,
So you've owned a couple of his soft side blinds, the elevated ones,
Just
right?
well, I've got one.
Just
but
one, okay.
I'm on my second cover though because the
Yeah,
other one's
yeah.
faded.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he had an issue with that, but
Yeah.
supposedly that issue has been
Yeah.
fixed. and
Supposedly.
so-
So are you ready to get another cover for yours, or do you think it's got some life left in
I
it?
think it'll be all right.
Because
I
you
just
can get a cover. We'll take care of you here at
Yeah,
Ultra
I know a
Broadheads.
place that could fix you up.
Yeah.
okay.
So to finish with this one, I want to make sure people realize
Yeah.
this. If you get an elevated or a big blind like this, many of them, you have to have a tractor with forks
Oh,
or
yeah.
Right.
something
A
to
skid
set them
steer
up.
works
Yeah, or
better.
skid steer
Yeah.
or
Forks.
what,
Yep,
something
right.
to that nature.
Yep.
And that particular one being a panel,
Yep.
like a couple, you and a buddy, I mean, obviously you got to put it together, but if you're going to try to get it back across ditches and stuff, you could throw it on the back of
Yeah.
and put it up.
Right.
All right.
JD says somebody needs to design a blind that looks like a combine.
Yeah.
That's no joke
Yeah.
because deer are not afraid of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could be expensive.
JD's a wise dude too.
Somebody
JD,
needs
yeah,
to make a
he
blind
sure
that looks like a deer we could get in.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. Moving
All
on.
right,
Moving
so-
on. What's next here?
Next is the Annihilator broadheads.
Yes. Now, that was
So
pretty cool.
Annihilator, a lot of guys that follow bow hunting are going to recognize the Annihilator. It's been around for a few years now,
It has, but they have changed some things.
and it hadn't changed for a couple years.
Yeah.
So they've come out with some new stuff.
Really, what they've done is they've modified the design some. Like, it's still, they've got one that's totally different, and then they've taken their original design and put single bevels on it, correct?
Pretty much on that one particular
Yes.
one.
Yeah, they offered a single
This-
bevel.
Yes,
This
that
one-
head there.
Yeah, and then
this
here's
is the
their
new one.
brand new.
Lathan loved this one.
Like he told me it wouldn't be out till June. I think this is one of those. He's like, we're looking at June. It's a single bevel. Of course, he goes. They'll tell you all the tests they've run, because they kind of advertise that. Well, here it is, like that spooning effect where
Yes.
you can see where that knocks. It drags air through the
Through the channel.
through the body cavity basically, and promotes
Blood to be expelled.
death
Yeah.
to the animal quickly, which is what we want.
Yeah.
So that would be their original design. That's the one that everybody would recognize. They've taken that one and put single bevels on it. 'Cause
Yep.
There's
Right.
a big push
As an
right
option,
now.
yeah.
A lot of studies are showing
And
single
I mean,
bevels.
on
are-
that spin,
Man, that didn't do. That
It's
didn't wobble
nuts.
or anything.
No,
No.
it was true.
like that thing is machined perfect.
They're made well, and that's the original. And I was wondering if we go over here and see, and you can't tell much difference there, but those are single bevels.
Travis was very helpful.
All those are single bevels, and then those are the new ones. That's the 200 grain. They come
Yeah,
out with the
for all the
200
guys that
grain
are-
version.
Ranch Fairy fans and
Yeah.
want to shoot something heavy.
Right.
Lathan.
So-
Yep.
I didn't say, you know.
Yeah, you loved that broadhead. I could tell. Your eye. There was a gleam in your eye when you were looking.
The
at that
150 was nice.
I probably would not go to.
Thing. No,
100.
that's too heavy. I mean, I don't want to get into that, but yeah, that seems too heavy to me.
It totally depends on my setup too.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
Yeah.
so the single bevel and even this new one. Matter of fact, they said on that new one they tested side by side, same arrow, with the original broadhead. Shot it at 100 yards, and then put this new one, which are those two right there. More of a kind of like a two-blade design, and shot it at 100 yards. And now he explained it to me, and it went over my head. A genius could probably tell us why, but
Mark. Yeah.
Mark can tell us why. But that one had, I forget how much percentage less drop at
Right.
100 yards, like
It was
compared
very-
to the other.
yes.
It was
Yeah,
something
it
like
causes
6
less drag in
less
the air.
drag. It was something
Yeah.
like 6 or 7 inches less drop at 100 yards with that broadhead.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
interesting.
one of the things we need to really point out was one of their tests for that 3-blade broadhead is they were shooting it through a what it was a car hood,
Hood of a truck or
But
something.
Chrysler.
an older heavy steel
Yeah,
hood,
like
and they shot
like an old
200
Chrysler.
times.
I think Doug still drives one, doesn't he?
Probably.
Nicknamed it Leroy.
No. So I got to leave something for the kids. So, but the head is there that they shot that same head 200 times through that hood, and it's not ruined.
No, he handed it to you, and you're taking his word for it that it is.
Yeah.
But it was actually,
Even relatively still sharp.
Yeah.
I
He
mean,
didn't
not-
resharpen it or anything.
no.
well, it didn't.
He-
now you could look at it and say it didn't look like it was resharpened because it wasn't sharp.
No, but
wasn't
it
cutting.
wasn't. It wasn't rounded off.
Like you would expect the edge to be all chattered up.
Right.
and-
200 times through
That's
steel.
impressive.
Yeah.
And CQAD does something similar, but not to that level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and theirs are pretty chattered.
They are.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking them; they're good broadheads.
Well, it's a totally different
It's
thing.
just a different thing.
Well,
yeah.
and
Like you're talking about something that's good carbon steel versus you
well,
know,
and what grade steel is he using? He said, and I
He
don't
said the
remember.
number, and I don't.
4440, I believe.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know
are those
steels.
cast and then ground, or are they? How do they? What is their design?
They have to be cast
It seems
in
like
the
they would
shape
have to
that they
be.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could. No, they could be like
you
extruded.
think they're
or
machined?
no, not extruded, but
Do you think they're machined out of billet, or are they?
yeah,
cast?
that's what I was going to billet. They could be machined out of billet aluminum. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
We didn't ask
Or
him
steel.
that.
They wouldn't be aluminum,
Or
but
yeah,
steel.
steel.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Steel.
Yeah, I just wondered. I didn't. That's a question I didn't ask, but I was.
And they're like hardcore elk hunters. He
Yes,
told
they
me, He's
are.
like, I mean, he's like, we started building these,
For
kill
elk
elk.
hunting. Yep.
and then they've just
the
grew and
truth
took off.
is, like, I would seriously consider that for an elk head and not worry a bit about it. And really, I don't think it'd be a bad whitetail.
And
head
I'll tell
either.
you what, in regards to pass throughs, I mean they had video after video of solid pass throughs. So
they're cool.
Yeah, it's
we
pretty
liked
neat.
them.
What
Yep.
do you rate them?
Yep.
They've been around a while, so we rate them on the new stuff.
Yeah,
So-
on the new stuff.
The single bevel's cool because that promotes rotation through the animal, which promotes touching more tissue, which promotes more blood loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether and here's the deal: they've got them in 100, they've got them in 125s,
Yep.
150,
150s,
and
200.
200s.
Just
so,
those new ones there.
yeah. So for the guys that are like, I don't want to shoot something heavy, that's lame.
Right. You can shoot 100 grain.
Yeah.
Right.
Shoot 100
right.
grain.
I mean, I would say, in terms of durability, they've got to be a 5 out of 5.
I would think so.
I mean,
He also told us he shot one in the shop one day into concrete 50 times, destroyed 50 arrows, and he said the broadhead was still, you could have filed it,
And
honed
got it sharp
and
again,
shot
maybe.
it again. That's what he said. So
And,
anyhow,
and I mean, those are obviously things that aren't necessary to be a good head, but
right,
they're-
but it proves something.
that proves that it's really
Yeah.
tough. You know,
I say roll on
Yeah.
to
All
the
right.
next one.
All right.
I don't even remember now where we're at here. What'll be next?
All right, so these are a couple things that Doug and Mark picked out. So
he makes it sound like
He sounds like it's.
what
it's
was
a
that?
kind
Did
of a
you
joke
pick
or
that up?
something.
Yeah, I don't know. He chuckled a little bit, but Mark can explain why. Mark owns the harness, and we all should have that backpack strap for our climbers.
Yeah.
But Mark, tell us about that harness a little bit because you kind of had me sold on it.
Oh,
and-
it's fantastic.
It'll-
the
it'll-
shoulder pads on it
Yeah,
are thick.
it'll shine here in just a second.
Yeah, tell us why you like it above the ones you've had because you've had other harnesses of other
Just
varieties.
the comfort of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't tangle up like
Well, that's
some of
right.
them you pull out and you got to figure out which way to.
20 minutes later, you're still trying to
and
untangle
it seems like
Right.
it's always in the same
Right.
position.
Did
I
you
guess-
guys happen
did you
to?
not?
no,
It
we
must be
have
on the
harness
next one.
stuff.
Yeah, it must be maybe the next
We've
one.
got technical difficulties with
so
the
so
people that are running things.
so address the.
We have good people back there.
It may be the next video. We broke it.
Right.
we did.
Because there's one, surely the one that showed the mannequin with the harness on it. Did you get that? Even
No, that's their new.
fold up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which we thought was interesting
Yeah, it's
too.
pretty neat.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
So
I don't know if it's the sort of thing that would make or break it for me, but it's a neat feature.
yeah,
Kind of looks like something that could break too.
It kind of, has that sort of look.
yeah. I just threw it in because
Yeah. It's pretty neat.
you
though.
guys picked a harness.
It's the best harness I've ever had.
Okay. See, now that's good.
I'm telling
and
you.
This
So
is a
either
guy-
we have to say either. Do we check one more video? Either it
No,
didn't
we
get-
absolutely have.
I think
Did
the
you guys
harness
have the
got
harness?
deleted.
Stuff?
It may not be there.
Well,
the harness haters over here. Probably
It was
deleted
amazing. So go back real quick then, and we'll look at the if anybody has a climber and they have dealt with shoulder straps. The
these
little,
shoulder straps are nice.
yeah, that's what I'm
like,
saying. If they've
yeah.
dealt with shoulder straps that
Yeah, we did something right.
that dig into it.
harness.
That's not even
the
what you guys
harnesses.
picked.
Yeah, man.
But
Yeah, it's the
there they
So
are.
there they
so
are.
that
Yeah.
they also like hold the stand somewhat together the way
Yes,
it looked
it
like
looked-
it.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
I
that,
mean,
I mean, if you got a Summit, you know how that can be.
Right.
It can kind of be clanky if you don't,
and the
cinch it.
provided straps that come with the stands typically are not super comfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
They're
Right.
thin. They dig
Oh,
into
they
your
cut
shoulders.
you.
Plus, the way we do it, we've got a lot of gear. Like you guys with filming stuff, you've got
Yeah.
stuff packed on the
Onto
stand,
the stand,
and now you're really
yes.
digging those straps in with
Oh,
a heavy,
there's-
heavy
You got a
load.
decoy attached to
there's
it.
some
Right,
rough
right.
times.
Yeah.
But did that? Now that's an add-on. Isn't
Yes,
it?
that's,
Oh,
that's an accessory.
So if you
Right.
go by or come in here and buy a Summit,
it doesn't come with that.
it does not
No.
come. You
You'd
have
be
to.
greatly disappointed.
And we didn't dive into what that cost
Very
to,
reasonable.
to upgrade.
It was
$40.
$40-some, I think.
That is reasonable.
Yeah, I believe that's what it
Because
was.
they look. I mean, anytime it can help also hold the stand together and stuff like that.
Well, the other thing about that harness
way
that
it's
the
rigged
guys
up.
don't like so much that we picked,
It's
it was also
It's
less
on that guy right
actually
there.
right
I think it's
Yeah.
on that female mannequin.
yeah. Yeah.
Did you hear that?
I did.
So listen, but here's the thing: it's an under $50 purchase, less
Oh,
than $50.
that
for
is pretty
harness.
nice.
No, the harness was 80.
Are you sure?
The harness
It gets
was 80.
worse
That,
all the
Oh,
time.
you're
that was
right.
40.
You're right. I'm sorry.
But still,
You're right.
80 bucks.
We
to-
apologize, folks. Apparently, we're not giving you accurate information.
I love this.
If we're apologizing
we-
for inaccurate information,
Hey, just wait till we talk
We
about
may-
trail cameras, Doug. We got them on that one.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do.
that's
Yeah.
right.
It's really hard to win here.
Lathan's still
but
trying to figure out what a megapixel is.
Yeah.
So.
It's hard to explain.
It really, the higher doesn't really make that much difference.
Yeah. Sometimes some of those cameras that claim high pixel counts, pictures still aren't that spectacular. And you wonder why.
And they use more storage on your SD card.
Yes, right, right.
I like to listen to you guys talk about them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
It
Wait
put me
till
to
I
sleep
get
at
that.
night.
What did you say? I always hear you. Wait till I
Hey.
get this high resolution picture. This is him.
hey, you use some cameras and I'll try a saddle. How's that?
Oh, that's an interesting.
Oh, I don't know.
It's
I
not-
shouldn't have
it's
said
not
that. I
worth
shouldn't have
backing
said
out
that. I
already.
shouldn't have
It's
said
not worth
that.
it.
No,
It's not
really
worth
not.
it. I
After
went-
what, is it a muddy bank? Will I slip and fall in? And then next thing you know, I've got
50
20 cameras.
Yes,
50.
because I started out with 6, and I thought
I've been part of the camera world. Because I've hunted with you for all those years, and you never had like 40 or 50. You had
No.
what, 3 or 4 or 5 cameras.
Because I'm a tightwad on that.
And
yeah.
the only thing I want to make my own decision. Does that make sense?
Not really.
Like
Yeah,
you base a lot of
Well-
where you go based upon.
Oh, that's a
your
deep
camera.
hole we could get in real quick.
Yeah, let's not go down.
It doesn't keep me
Well,
from
it's not-
going there, though.
Yeah, we can,
I mean,
probably can't spend time on it, but
okay, that'll be the trail camera
Yeah.
episode.
We need to have a trail camera day because this is going to get out of hand.
It could get
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
We got naysayers mixed in with, believers and whatever.
I'm a believer. I'm a believer. I think there's a lot of people
High
killing deer
C,
that they
man.
would never kill
Oh, I believe you're right.
because of their trail
yeah.
camera.
Yeah, that's right.
That they wouldn't get it if they didn't have their trail cameras.
There's going
Well,
to be some of
Yes. Yeah. That.
Dun, dun. No, go ahead.
No, that's me. Yeah, I'll be. Yeah.
No, and that's
Well, no,
there's nothing wrong with
It's a
that.
helpful tool.
Okay,
and so-
next item.
Yeah.
It can be very frustrating at the
Do
same
we have
time.
any
Oh, yeah,
more?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, let's move quick before this goes bad. 'Cause it got
People
close.
out there, I am not against them. Man, put your trail cameras up, kill your deer, and be happy.
all
I'm
right.
happy
So here we've got Excel sights. Excel and TrueBall have come out with a new line. This is one of their new lines, but they've also got on all their standard.
This is you're seeing right now the 3D stuff.
This is the 3D.
Like if you're a 3D guy,
You would love these. They've come out with some new stuff on the 3D.
and there you go.
And then on the hunter end, they've come out with what they call the tactical. And the tactical, to me, it's more about the tactical finish.
Right.
Yeah.
The site itself is still what we know from Excel and
Yeah.
TrueBall.
Which are
Good quality.
fantastic.
Top notch
Yeah.
stuff.
And
Top notch.
so they've changed their finishes up to where it's not just a standard black finish, but they've got tactical green, OD green, and for the guys out there that like to have everything looking right, this is a way to do it.
Yeah.
So
Are they intended to color match specifically with a particular bow color, or are they just random?
no,
don't
but
think.
man, I'm telling you, it would lean itself really close to any of the OD greens,
Sure.
and even
The ambush,
the
possibly?
ambush, which is Matthew's color,
Yeah,
and also any of that bottomland stuff. I think it would.
it would blend pretty well.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah, you can't beat
Everything's going bottom lane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's coming back around.
Everything is going
Yeah.
bottomlands.
I'm like, I bet Mossy Oak is
Man.
like, I bet they're smiling.
They're skipping to
I bet
the
their
bank
smile
every
reaches
day.
all the way around and touches in the
Yeah.
back of their head.
Yeah, it very, very well could.
So here's a release, a thumb
release.
release. Pretty cool. He says, what did he tell us? This is basically the only one that head telescopes in and out.
Yeah, so you can adjust
Oh,
your
you can
draw
fine-
length
You can
based
fine tune
on.
the fill.
I mean, how much are we talking?
well, not a gob, not
But
a
I
gob.
mean, even if it did a quarter,
right?
that's pretty significant.
You could
Yep.
basically give you a little bit of modularity to be like, I like it all the way out, or
Right,
you could
okay.
you could run it all the way out and be like, I don't like that, pull it back in. You
Pretty
know,
quick
fine-
adjustment.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all on the back side.
It just-
So
Toolless, or do you have to have Allen wrenches?
I think it was
it's
a
Allen
tool.
wrenches,
I think it was
yeah.
a tool. And then their head, or their, what would you call that? The
the
part,
body of it,
well, the part that hooks on your D loop,
the head,
The
yeah.
jaw.
the head, the jaw. It's like a three.
Oh yeah, it reticulates.
Yeah, it's like a three prong. If you could see it there, it just rolls around. So like when you
So
pull
there's
the
always
trigger,
one ready.
there's always
Oh, okay.
it's almost
I
like a
see.
revolver.
Okay,
It,
yeah.
Yeah.
it rolls in. The next one rolls
Lots of
into place.
revolvers.
Yeah,
Pretty neat. I think they had that on some of their
yeah. They've had that in the past.
on certain ones last year.
Is Zach thinking about carrying annihilator heads at the shop?
Yes, we are. We are
Yes, we
thinking
are.
about carrying Annihilator heads.
We talked to them
all.
already about it to some degree, and we may go further
Yeah.
with them
So,
tomorrow.
question: these sights, will they adapt to the that dovetail sight into the Matthews?
Yes,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
what you're looking right there will. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So they
any of them that are the dovetail carbon. Well, it doesn't have to be carbon fiber, but any of the
Okay.
dovetail will adapt to Matthews.
okay. All right. Good.
Those look good, don't they?
Man, they
They're,
look
they
they're
look
tough.
pretty
good.
sweet. They're pretty
Like
sweet.
if you get the release to match it,
yeah.
Yeah,
they got the
How you
green.
think of that?
Oh yeah. Get a bottom land
I mean,
release.
You would
Yeah.
probably excel in
Oh.
your hunting.
Boy, who even has that? We got to move that
We
up.
need to get all bottom land cameras.
Well, let's
too.
have it film dipped. Everything you've got in bottom,
Bottom land, yeah.
Boots, everything.
Perfect.
Just-
I
yeah.
seen. Did you see the bottom land? But not boots and everything,
Oh,
everywhere.
everything.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah,
that carried
it's-
a decent line of any kind of backpacks or clothing or anything, something in their arsenal was bottom
Bottom
land
land
camo.
camo.
It's really
Jump on
coming
the
back.
bottom land train, people.
That's right.
Come on. Anything else, or are we
There you go.
are we topped out?
I think that's it, man.
Is that it?
So
And that's nowhere near
Oh
it.
man,
no,
But
didn't even
we just
scratch the
touched it.
surface, Yeah.
So there's a bunch more, and
Do you,
you know,
wanna
maybe
try to-
next week we can touch on some more stuff, or
It might
Yeah.
be good. I mean,
If
I don't
there's
know
something you missed that you're when we're there tomorrow, if there's
Yeah.
something you missed, you're like, man, you know, we might be able to hash it out
Yeah.
again.
we're still
No.
looking at the plan for next Thursday not being ironed out totally yet. So if
Yeah.
we do, I guess if we discover there's some things we need to hit on, we could.
yeah, for sure.
But-
So
I know.
Or we just move on and forget the thing happened.
Talk about trail cameras.
Yeah. That could be trail camera week.
That'll be a fun one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, bring your boxing gloves because we got some naysayers.
We need to bring some with
It's
us.
not
ding,
naysaying.
ding.
We need to bring some with us. You know,
Oh, yeah.
the best to the worst,
Yeah.
you know.
And here's the thing, too.
And
It's
I'll
kind of
take
a-
your intel.
Yeah.
Sometimes you guys are like, hey, my
I
camera
noticed
said
that you
right
never
there.
turned down the intel.
No.
You
I
know,
got some real shoddy intel the other night.
now let's just
No, we
just,
did, man.
You can use all our info. And
Oh, it's a
Can-
for sure
someone asked
thing.
him
Can I
about
just
them.
be
Man,
clear
big
about
was
something?
running in front
I'm
of the
getting them on my
stands.
cameras every
okay.
day.
let's reel it in a little bit. Did I not send you guys a picture just prior to your arrival on the farm?
Of
Yeah.
a deer spooked running off.
Well, there was a buck there, guys. I mean, you just were running late. I can't help that. These things are beyond my control. You know, and so
We'll pray for you,
yeah.
Douglas.
But regardless of that, there's an entire method to successfully setting trail cameras for the best result.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
just the
let's
camera.
do this. Let's take 5 minutes. Let the people catch up.
All right.
And all I want people watching to do, and that will watch, because you got several watching now, and you'll have
Right.
a whole.
You're killing us, man.
Sorry.
You're doing great.
I just wanted to see the
That's
comment.
the genius coming out.
I wanted to see the comment.
Yeah.
No. But so do this. Put it in the comments. I use cameras. I have cameras, or I don't have. However you want to put that. And we'll just.
I would like to know.
So we can scroll the comments and see like what's the percentage. If we get,
Right.
if we got 500 people, if we could get 500 people to comment,
And are people
you could
interested
you
in?
could you could work up. I know it's got to be
It's
More-
going
more
to
than-
be a lot.
more
I would
than
like to
not.
know who's running cells, who's running
Right.
just SD cards.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd say the cells are taking over.
They're really,
I would say so,
really.
too.
I mean,
And they
They
can
have to
comment on that, but how did they keep it just easy? Because some people don't want to type a big paragraph. How do you keep it legit? Like, I run them. I don't run them. I love them.
Just yes.
I hate them.
And
No.
what type?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, cell cams. Or
And if
yes,
you want to
SD
go in
cards.
depth, throw in that you run 50 like Mark.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
and
see if
got
anybody
50
runs.
on reserve.
So let's just see if anybody runs more cameras than Mark.
Oh.
If you run more than 50 cams, we need to know who you are.
Yeah.
The only thing
This
some
was a
of those
low
people
year,
may be,
too.
like
I
you
know.
said, almost like they need to start a false account just to be able to answer that question.
Yeah, oh goodness, yeah. I still want to know. I mean, I can't be responsible for trouble at home. I mean, just tell the truth. Tell us that you're addicted to trail cameras. Maybe that's your road to recovery. That's the
be a-
first step.
I got a
it could be a
question.
lot worse.
Now I got a question for you guys, and I know the answer to it. With concerning your cell cams, how much sleep have you missed because of
that's
your cell
legit.
cam?
Yeah,
How many
during
times
November.
have you woke up at
Well,
2:30?
I take that back.
2:30 and you hear? Zzz, zzz, zzz. You're like, oh, I got to check that. I got to look
telling
at
ya.
that.
I don't hear it though when I'm sleeping.
Oh, dude.
Mark, I don't know how you do it because I don't even sleep.
Doug's is like taped to his ear.
Yeah, like-
he's got a set of things like this that hold his phone on his ear.
Well, mine's on the floor, so I don't hear it. But
Are you
as soon as I
serious?
get up, it's like
Oh, I know it's the first thing
There's
you do,
like
but
50
you mean
pictures
it
from
doesn't
the
keep you
baboons.
up at night? For real.
it depends
doesn't?
on when they're coming in. If it's 10 o'clock, yeah,
You're an
maybe.
amateur. You got to get on board.
We got Rob. He's running
But
5.
I've got you all beat on age too.
So once again,
remember
everybody
Yes.
put it, if
Yeah.
you're watching live, throw it in there. If you watch this tomorrow, the next day, whenever, just throw it in the comments. We'll check it the next few days.
Yep.
And it may make for more interesting conversation. You
Yeah.
could say, like I said, if you could get 500 people to comment, I'd like to know is 90% of them running cameras?
Yeah.
And how many?
I mean, I bet that's probably pretty close.
I'd say it is.
I mean, I can't imagine. It's just such a big thing now, and it's almost a strange enough thing where it's almost a peer pressure thing. Oh, you're not running cameras?
Yeah.
You know what? And before you know it, guys are running cameras. Yeah, I got a camera. Or
I'm
two
not
or
into
three or-
peer pressure, man.
Are you are you the one pressuring them?
No, absolutely not. I don't care what they do.
Not cool.
I
dude.
find it fun just to run them.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is fun.
It's not always about just patterning a deer.
No. Well, here's the other thing. There's a gap coming up real soon.
Yeah.
This season
You're
ends in a
gonna-
few days.
Yeah.
There's a gap of time when it is fun to have a goal in the outdoors to still be doing things, and the trail cameras kind of fill that gap a little bit through the spring and summer.
Yeah, and
We're
it
gonna,
knows,
we're
you
gonna have
know,
to watch it. We're gonna have a trail
Yeah.
camera episode. But do you not run them when the sheds start falling?
Yes, that was just what I was going to say.
You stop running 'em?
No, you keep running them. That way you know like
Absolutely.
what deer survived.
Well, like I'm saying, after the sheds fall off,
After it's all done. Yeah, there's
no, a few maybe.
you shut them, some of them down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that window's not that long.
No, it's
No.
about
Like March
3
to
months.
June.
yeah, that's right. But
I was just pictured you guys sitting around like this.
looking at nothing.
Oh, it is
no,
frustrating.
nothing to
Your phone's like quits doing
I'll
anything.
tell you.
Guess we'll take our wives on a date.
Oh gosh. Okay. So we got to be careful.
Yeah.
All right.
But here's the thing, though. This is what I do. Turkey season is coming, so I don't run all my cameras for that. But the spots I intend to turkey on,
Oh,
I will
my
then.
lands.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'll relocate my cameras to keep track of what the turkeys are doing throughout the course of the winter and early spring.
Do you have they need a sound setting on them now where you don't only just see like if they don't get in front of the camera.
They do.
Oh, you can
they do.
hear.
We've
you
got
can
all
hear,
our-
I mean,
you can
like,
hear the.
not even when it's tripped, like it can recognize a turkey gobbling. So it's
There's
like,
some of the new ones will tell you if it's a deer, a turkey, coyote, predator.
And this is, pretty over the top stuff for a guy that's
or a trespasser.
And it does. There's one that does say people.
Yep, that's right.
Yes.
Or it'll say
Or
no
in a-
target.
or hog
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
raccoon.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
We need an ultra cell cam that has AI technology in it.
For a guy that doesn't even run cameras, you are really, really coming up with some crazy ideas. But
Like
yeah,
I went to go hunting and my trail camera was sitting in my stand.
hey, just for the record, what does AI stand for?
Artificial intelligence.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Whoa.
Didn't know where that was
pulled that
going.
one
yeah.
out.
And I was pointing at Mark when I did it.
Yeah, I was wondering where in the
Artificial.
world.
He called him
was-
genius
yeah,
today,
it
and I
was
was like,
genius.
that's artificial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
fellas,
artificial.
we need to wrap
Wrap
this
it
up.
up, wrap it
All
up.
right.
Hey, we appreciate you watching. If you guys get a chance, follow, share, comment. We appreciate all of it. When you guys do that, it helps us and it also helps you. So if you're watching on YouTube, hit the bell, subscribe, let us know that you're on there. And if you're on Facebook, like, share, follow, comment. So we appreciate it. And this has been Up for Discussion. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.